Charlie Crist on campus at FIU.
I am humbled to be here and greatly honored.
A major party candidate visits MMC. Executive privilege claims are under controversy.
There's only one executive who can assert the privilege, and that's the one who is the current executive, Joe Biden.
In the legal battle over the Mar-a-Lago documents. And members of the Oath Keepers group identified as officers.
They have skills with weapons. They understand and are trained in how to conduct an actual assault.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Amanda Gray.
And I'm Kenya Cardone. Today is Tuesday, September 13th of 2022.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Amanda Gray.
And I'm Kenya Cardone. Today is Tuesday, September 13th of 2022.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Document debate this morning between the Justice Department and lawyers for former President Trump. More trouble this morning for the FBI and former President Trump in the Mar-a-Lago documents investigation.
A search for a special master is prolonging the hearing as more legal findings are introduced. Former Trump ally Chris Christie argues the former president will not be able to hide behind executive privilege.
The main thrust is that some of these may be covered by executive privilege. Well, there's only one executive who can assert the privilege, and that's the one who is the current executive, Joe Biden.
Christie went on to defend the DOJ and reason the department had no choice. The contents of the document and a failure to respond to a subpoena made the FBI respond in this manner towards his attorney and the court case. The findings of 100 newly unsealed records at his personal office exploit the highly sensitive information.
Young voters expected to play a larger role than usual in this fall's election. As the network's Samantha Gutierrez reports, that is what brought Giffords, Florida, and a candidate running for governor to Florida International University.
Giffords, Florida spent several hours at FIU speaking about gun reform alongside Florida's Democratic gubernatorial candidate Charlie Crist.
The event began with Debbie Mukersall-Powell revealing the effects of gun violence on young men.
Gun violence is the leading cause of death for Hispanic male youth, ages 15 to 19, and the third leading cause of death for Hispanic male adults, ages 20 to 44 years old. Our message is simple. We are in the business of saving lives. We want to build a future without violence.
Giffords, Florida is the first and only state-specific political initiative concerning gun safety policies.
Our lives can change so quickly. Mine did when I was shot. We are living in challenging time, but we are up for the challenge. My own recovery has taken years. Many, many people have helped me along the way, and I learned so much. I learned when people care for each other and work together, progress is possible. A better world is possible.
Be sure to register to vote by Florida's registration deadline, October 11th. In the Control Center for South Florida Media Network, I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
A recently released list of the members of the extreme conservative group, the Oath Keepers, reveals officers among its members. Reporter Nicole Castañeda from our DC Bureau is in Washington this morning.
The number the ADL found associated specifically to the extremist group, the Oath Keepers, is still small compared to the actual number of police and defense professionals. However, experts says this is still dangerous and a threat to the Constitution.
You can't have people who go to work one day at one place with an oath to defend the Constitution in the United States, and then the next day, as part of an outside group, are trying to overthrow the same.
Since January 6, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has intensified efforts to end radicalization in the military, and some police departments have expelled officers with ties to extremism. A former Virginia cop, for instance, was fired after being sentenced to over 7 years in prison for being part of the January 6 attack. The ADL showed messages from alleged members of the Oath Keepers. A military member wrote, "I currently coordinate ground movements. I have influence on nearly 46,000 Marines and sailors." And a California police officer also wrote he had a wide variety of law enforcement experience, including undercover operations, surveillance, and SWAT.
They have tactical skills. They have skills with weapons. They understand and are trained in how to conduct an actual assault.
National security experts have been raising alarms over the number of police officers accused of taking part in the Capitol attack. According to a CNN review, at least 95 defendants served in the U.S. military. Although the ADL found lots of evidence, there is still much to investigate, as many people who are on the database of the Oath Keepers say they are not active members or they don't share their ideology. From Washington, D.C., reporting for the South Florida Media Network, Nicole Castañeda.
Farewells continue this morning for the late Queen of England. Crowds in Scotland gathered yesterday and paid their respects to Queen Elizabeth II as her coffin was sent to London. Today, she's being flown to Buckingham Palace, and the Queen will lie in state at Westminster Hall until her funeral next Monday. The most eager are already waiting outside Westminster to say their goodbyes to the Queen.
Letting someone know that they're loved and they're not alone can save a life. D.C. Bureau reporter Michelle Morris was in Washington this past weekend's Suicide Prevention Day.
According to the World Health Organization, every 40 seconds someone takes their own life, making suicide the leading cause of death, particularly for young persons between the ages of 15 to 29. With increasing awareness lately of the important role of mental health, DC locals share their thoughts on this day.
I think that we saw during COVID a spike in mental health issues, a crisis amongst young people. We don't just need a day, we need an entire year. We need every year to be mental health prevention, mental health support and suicide prevention year, because we need to make sure that we're investing structurally into mental health resources for young people, not just making it about a day, though I think it is really important to have a day to just highlight and make sure that there is awareness around this issue.
Studies show that major depression among young people increases the risk of suicide. The International Association for Suicide Prevention partnered with the World Health Organization to officially establish the Awareness Day in 2003. The goal is to fight against suicide. Young people are advocating for spaces to be created so that the tabooness around the stigma of mental health is eliminated, to bring awareness to what many are calling the silent killer.
I love that days like this not only bring awareness to the fact that young people are dealing with unprecedented mental health issues, but also hopefully giving us some guidance on how to work through that in today's society.
If you or someone you know needs help, you can call or text 988 to reach the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. In Washington, D.C., reporting for South Florida Media Network, Michelle Morris.
2 games in 1 day for the Marlins.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
Dog Ranch is the biggest no-kill shelter here in the U.S. We house at any given point in time like 800 dogs. We have every type of dog you can imagine.
The fan experience over the weekend was for the dogs. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Bill is a family man. He invests his money wisely and provides a good life for his children. Just one problem. He often opens emails from senders he doesn't know, and his computer is not password protected. One day, Bill checked his bank account and 94% of malware attacks originate from emails. Don't be like Bill. Take your cybersecurity seriously.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
After losing Game 1 of a doubleheader, the Miami Marlins were able to come back and win Game 2 on the same day against the Texas Rangers here at home. The final scores in last night's Game 2 was 10-6. The Marlins play later today at Lone Depot Park against the Philadelphia Phillies. First pitch is at 6:40. The Marlins weekend series against the Mets featured both two-legged and four-legged fans.
The network's Elena Key was on hand for Sunday's Bark in the Park game.
Playing against the New York Mets this weekend was a little different than your usual baseball game. This time, fans got to bring their dogs with them, even having their own dog welcoming section in the stadium.
Baseball season is in full swing, and the fun isn't just for you, it's also for your furry friends. Bark in the Park happened this Sunday, September 11th, where the fun was for both the owner and their dogs.
It's been great. She loves it. It's gotten her out of the house and seeing other dogs, and she's actually been super mellow for once, so it's been great.
But not all dogs come with their owners. Some come hoping to find their forever homes with the help of one of the stands at the event.
Dog Ranch is the biggest no-kill shelter here in the U.S. We house at any given point in time like 800 dogs. We have every type of dog you can imagine.
Similar to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, Lone Depot Park was filled with all types of dogs of different shapes and sizes, with one goal: have fun and eat treats, regardless of what team they were on. Elena Key, South Florida Media Network.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Kenya Cardone.
I'm Amanda Gray. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.